Welcome to the Talking the Line podcast, presented to you by Talking the Line Sports Media, giving you our best insights and analysis so you can rake in some cold hard cash on your next sports bet. Now sit on back, open up your mind, and let's cash some tickets. We can't thank you enough for joining us. We hope you enjoy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, degenerates and gamblers, far and wide. Welcome in to episode number 70, the big 7-0 of the TTL podcast. Hey, thank you so much for taking a few moments out of your day to come and kick it with the crew on this beautiful Wednesday of bets. Now, before we dive deep into today's action and talk some lines for you kind folks joining us on today's show, please take a few moments, if you haven't already, to smash that subscribe button on whatever platform you are currently ingesting the TTL pod on. If you are on YouTube, you might as well go ahead and hit that notification bell as well so you never miss the start of a live show. If you are listening to the audio recorded version on your favorite podcasting directory, be sure to subscribe there in addition so you never miss the drop there, as we do release the audio version after every live show. In addition, next item up on the list, if you could also be so kind and you have a few extra seconds in your day, go ahead, hit that like button, leave us a comment, leave us a rating, all of that good stuff. We cannot tell you how much we appreciate it when you do, and it only helps us make TTL Sports Media bigger and better for each and every one of you. And last but not least here, head on over to this episode's description where you can locate the TTL link tree. Within that link tree, you will find all of the TTL crew's content so you can consume it however and whenever you please. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us on today's show, I am your humble host, Colton, Colt 45 Soroka, and once again, thank you so much for choosing to bet with the TTL crew today. Been a bit of a wheel-spinning start to the week here. The man to my left probably doesn't even want to look into the camera, as you can see, but here he is. He's live in prime time, ready to get the good vibes rolling. Regardless if it's a winning day or a losing day the previous day, you know what you're going to get here at the TTL pod. Good vibes. We never have anything but them. So, without further ado, let me bring in that aforementioned man to my left. A young man who is ready to start cashing some doggone tickets. If you read the description, ready to get the money train back on the tracks and headed straight for Pay Station. Without further ado, the man, the myth, the degenerate gambling legend himself, Mr. Riley RMags Magnuson. Partner, how you doing over there today, pal?
My man, I'm doing good. I know I say it every single day that I'm doing pretty damn great, but something about today, I woke up on the right side of the bed today, and I'm feeling pretty damn dangerous.
Well, I don't know about you. I don't know if you guys noticed, new hat, New Jersey, everything coming out, feeling good. The hat that I wear is a very special hat to me. It's a favorite hat of mine. I wear it because it was a gift to me by somebody who else is very special to me. However, sorry, still love you, but had to change up the vibes. Had to get the vibes going in a different direction. So, first things first, before we get into a little more banter and what is coming up on episode number 70, you know the deal. We are a full transparency show here at the TTL pod. So quickly, let's get into yesterday's best bets of the day. Yikes. Oh my goodness. Okay, on the screen now for you, yesterday's best bets of the day. If you're listening, don't turn it off. Don't turn off the show after we tell you this. We have made some corrections, and honestly, a lot of bad beats here on the screen. My partner, 1-3. The Braves got it done in the bottom of the fifth on an Acuna 3-run bomb, which was way more sweaty than that -170 line needed to be.
Yep, Ozzy Albies, but still.
Or Ozzy Albies, sorry. My fault. Acuna is still not ripping the ball, so doggone it. The Marlins' first 5 lost it 1-0. Absolutely terrible beat there. The Rays, the Nats came out hot. I told my partner before the pod, but he sided me on over. Either way, we all bet on the Rays and lost. Then you got the Brewers -1.5. I obviously didn't back that. Being against the Cubs, not that it wasn't good analysis, but a bummer there. Over to the right side of the screen, another over for me. Did not go over for my full day, so quick reminder before I get into this, follow us on the Action Network app. Number 1, stick to your units, and number 2, make sure you have additional plays. These are our best bets of the day. We do the research, we do everything, but sometimes the tide doesn't shift in your favor, my friends. It's gambling.
Sometimes those ones that you're wishy-washy are on are the ones that, go.
And I really wasn't wishy-washy on these at all.
That's fair.
So without further ado, follow me at cash_with_Colt, Riley at RMags in all caps, and then all of the best bets of the day if you want to at Talking the Line. We will turn this around at some point. Kind of wild. I started last week 9-0 and had a beautiful week, and then welcome to gambling. Start this week 0-9. Whoever is watching my picks, watching this show, pound sand, quit messing with me. This is not cool at all. Mariners' first 5 plus 1.5. That one lost in the bottom of the fifth, 3-0. The Diamondbacks' first 5 plus a half lost in the bottom of the fifth inning. The Giants' first 5 plus a half. All of a sudden, apparently, Gozman is not the dominant man he always has been on the road. Don't know what happened there. Brutal beat. And then the A's first 5 minus a half, had it the whole time, and then all of a sudden decided they couldn't put up any runs on inconsistent on the road Mike Fultonewicz, and it was tied 2-2 after 5. So nothing but bad beats there for me. You know, it'd be one thing. I'd let you guys rip into me if I was getting 9-0 plays and like, are you even researching? Are you even doing anything?
Right.
Yes. This is just Vegas having a nice little day. It's okay. We're sticking to our units. Everything's fine. And then the 2 for Tuesday parlay. Gosh darn it. We are cashing a special play today. We're cashing 2 special plays today. Wednesday Warrior and the Wednesday Parlay Pop-Off. One more mention now. 27, 25, and 1. The ray of sunshine on the TTL pod to start this week. The Moneyline Dice. 4-0 start to the week, and they are hot. Cash Padres Moneyline last night, and the Padres Reds under 10. 5-4 final score. Did not go over after the 5th or 6th inning, I do believe that score was. So let's get those damn things off the screen. You know what we say here in the past. It's behind us now. We are moving on, and if it being pushed away from your screen was any more of a visual cue as to where we're going now, it's time to start cashing some doggone tickets. It's time to give out today's locks. We got a show and a half.
We did.
As always, we spent some extra time going back and forth, seeing what this week is looking like. Where are the trends? What's happening? Why has our bets been just barely missing? We found the answers. We got them prepared for you, and we are going to be delivering them to you today. So as always, kicking things off with the best bets of the day. We got 7 picks coming at you today. I got 4. My partner's got 3. Kicking it off with his, then over to mine. Second segment of the day, as always, the special play of the day. But on Wednesdays, it is the special plays of the day. The aforementioned Wednesday Warrior and Parlay Pop-Off. 3-leg Parlay Pop-Off today at plus 489 odds. So make sure you stick around for the second segment. Get all of those. And then we'll be sure to give you the best bets of the day. We'll recap those as well. Then we'll get into the Moneyline Dice segment. As always, the dice are hot. They're ready to roll. They're glistening in the production studio lighting. The all-knowing, all-powerful dice will be rolling for the matchup between the Kansas City Royals and the Boston Red Sox tonight. So stick around for the third and final segment of the first half of the show, the betting portion of the show for the Moneyline Dice roll. After all of that, we'll wrap up and we'll get into the second half of the show. You know the drill, rants and reactions. I made a promise to you guys at the beginning of this week that I would start diving deeper into MMA and the world of fighting, and I have once again stuck true to my promise. Got about a half a page worth of information written down here on today's agenda, so can't wait to get into that. We'll also give you our latest hot takes in the NBA and NHL playoffs, and we got plenty more to rant and react about, so make sure you stick around for the second half of the show. And then last but certainly not least, giving you a little extra inspiration, motivation, get you through this beautiful Wednesday. Gonna give you a little message on embracing the hate in my motivation minutes. So stick around for the very end of the show for that action. But for now, cut all the nonsense, cut all the drama, stop all the banter that you could go to every single other sports media outlet and get. You come here to the TTL pod for the Stone Cold Locks and running tickets to the window with the crew all day and night long. Let's get the vibes rolling now. Let's get the mindset in the right spot and get things kicked off with the first segment of today's show. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time for the TTL crew's best bets of the day, and the first half of that first segment, RMags best bets of the day. I told you he's got 3 coming at you. All 3 are MLB plays, and he was going to be a little risky, and he pulled the reins back a little bit and said, partner, 3-0 sweep coming up. I'm not playing around. I am not going to be wishy-washy on anything. So without further ado, I'm going to let him lay that analysis down, the knowledge he has acquired for himself and now about to deliver to you on this beautiful Wednesday. As always, without further ado, partner, you have the floor.
Alrighty, I appreciate it. First one's coming out of the afternoon slate here in the MLB. Got the Pirates versus the Colorado Rockies in Colorado, and I am taking the Rockies money line. You've got Chad Kuhl on the mound for the Pirates versus John Gray, both right-handers. Rockies are coming in 7-2 straight up over their last 9 home games. They have scored at least 5 runs in 7 of those 9 games, and they are a whopping 27-16 at home this season, top 5 in baseball at home. If you've been living under I was about to say living under a rock, but that would be a very lame pun.
Pun intended.
Yeah. So if you've been living under a rock, the Rockies, yes, of course, they are record-wise one of the worst teams in baseball, but at home they are one of the best teams in baseball. But they are as brutal can be on the road, so that's why their record is as bad as it is. Now, the Pirates, on the other hand, are as bad as their record says, home or away. They are 13-28 on the road, and that is pretty standard for their season on the whole, home or away. Colorado versus right-handers in their last 10. Colorado's offense, 259 batting average, 333 OBP, 5.12 runs per 9, so that's home and away. Obviously, I said they were bad on the road. They did have a bad road stretch, but their offense was still kind of traveling well. So that offense, whether it's home or away, is actually hitting pretty well right now. And they're facing Chad Kuhl, as I mentioned, 5.05 ERA on the season, 6.04 ERA on the road. He's been a little bit better lately, but that's against some very cold offenses. And as I just mentioned, that's not quite the case with the Rockies today. And they're putting out John Gray on the mound for themselves. He's got a 3.97 ERA, 3.25 ERA at home, and he's actually making his second start after an IL stint that he had for a couple of weeks. And he was fantastic in that first start off the IL. 5 innings pitched versus Milwaukee, 0 earned runs. So I really like him to continue that. I like guys coming off IL in their first couple of starts, as long as they're above average pitchers, which John Gray is. And this Pirates offense is struggling right now in Colorado this week. 0 runs scored in the first 2 games. Don't know if they'll get shut out once again. But I like this Rockies team to put up a handful of runs on Chad Kuhl and John Gray to put up a quality start. And I'm going to rock this Rockies money line this afternoon, partner.
Yeah, absolutely. I am right there with you. The 1.5 piqued my interest a little bit as well, but the money line is a much safer play. Kuhl has been way too inconsistent for me to back in any capacity whatsoever. And then John Gray, coming off of a bit of an IL stint, but I like him to come back, start being the same old dominant John Gray for these Rockies, especially in Coors Field. That's the real kicker for me here. So I will gladly be backing you, my friend, on your first play of the day, the Colorado Rockies money line. Hammer it in.
Alrighty. Second play.
Second
coming
play
out
of the day,
the
sir.
American League. It is going to be the Mariners versus Blue Jays. I am taking the Blue Jays on the run line -1.5. If You got two lefties on the mound today, Justice Sheffield versus Steven Matz for the Jays. And this Blue Jays offense is very hot right now. They have won 8 out of their last 9 games. Should be 9 in a row. Had a little bit of a blip last week that they blew in the late innings. But nonetheless, over their last 9 games, 7-2 to the run line. And they are averaging just under 7 runs per game during that stretch. So pretty consistently putting up some nice runs. Last 10 versus lefties, 260 batting average, 341 OBP, 7 runs per 9. So, obviously add 1 game on that, and it's pretty standard lefty or righty. They are hitting the cover off the ball. And they're facing a lefty in Justice Sheffield that I have no interest in backing today. 5.69 ERA on the season, 6.39 ERA on the road, 7.58 ERA in June. So things are not going well for Mr. Sheffield. The M's have lost each of their last 3 games when he starts by at least 3 runs. And after a nice stretch for the Mariners, they are cooling back down a little bit here. Last 10 versus lefties, 231 batting average, 300 OBP, 3.94 runs per 9. So not terrible, still a little bit better than their season average, but not as good as it was a little over a week ago when they swept the Rays, I believe, and handled my White Sox in 2 out of 3. So above all, like I mentioned in the last analysis, you have Steven Matz coming in off the IL himself after a couple weeks. And as I mentioned with John Gray, I really like pitchers, at least above average pitchers, in their first start off the IL to really show out and have that freshness, get whatever was causing them those issues in the past to be obviously out of their way. Otherwise, they wouldn't be back. So I like Steven Matz to hold down this Mariners offense and that Blue Jays offense to touch up Justice Sheffield this afternoon, partner, or this evening, I should say.
Sure enough, Justice Sheffield being on the mound was the biggest thing for me. I backed him last week, backed the M's in the first 5. I thought he had enough firepower to get it done at home. Did not at all, so I do not believe he has enough firepower to get it done on the road, especially against these red-hot Blue Jays right now. Yeah, I like the Blue Jays -1.5, definitely. I think they get it done by 2 or more for sure here today. So second play of the day from your partner, Blue Jays -1.5. So 1 and 2, folks. Some solid value coming from the Rockies and the Blue Jays. Now, third and final best bet coming from RMags today. Sir, if you could be so kind to lay that bad boy down.
Alrighty, back over to the National League this evening. And I'm taking the red-hot Padres on the run line, -1.5 versus the Reds. You've got 2 righties on the mound, Joe Musgrove versus Vladimir Gutierrez. And Musgrove has been heating up and looking very dominant in his last couple of starts. Last 2 against these Reds and the Dodgers, 13 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned runs allowed. 0 earned runs were to the Reds over 7 innings a couple weeks ago. So he is coming in with a 2.2 ERA on the season, 2.19 ERA on the road. So very similar, home or road. Doesn't really matter for him. He gets the job done. And on the flip side, you've got Vladimir Gutierrez, 3.97 ERA on the season. Came up in late May, so this will be his 7th start. I was backing him early. He was looking really, really solid. Now he's starting to fade. His last 2 starts, including a start against these Padres, 11 innings pitched, 14 hits, 8 earned runs, 6 walks, and 5 earned runs were to the Padres over 5 innings. So in this case, I really like Vladimir Gutierrez to kind of stay consistent to what he was those last 2 starts. A lot of times I like to find these young pitchers who make their first few career starts. Guys have never seen him before, and he holds them down to 1, 2, 3 earned runs in the first handful of innings. And then, that 6th, 7th start after about a month or so in, a lot more film on him, a lot more guys have seen him. And, it's less of a mystery as we get into it. And in this case, I think that is to a T for Vladimir Gutierrez. And now you're giving him the Padres offense again, who have won 10 out of 11, and they're tearing the cover off the ball. Last 10 versus righties, 298 batting average, 378 OBP, and 6.32 runs per 9. So I really like this Padres offense about as much as I like the Blue Jays offense right now. And as much as I liked Vladimir Gutierrez early when he came up, I think he's starting to fade, and I think we start to see these teams put up 3, 4, 5 pretty consistently on him, partner.
Yeah, I was right there with you on that Gutierrez analysis. I like guys, you know me, getting their early starts in the MLB, definitely their first official outings in the MLB, and then for a little while if they do have a dominant outing. And then now, like you said, 6, 7, 8 outings, there's a lot more tape on them. Guys know what some of those sequences are now, and I think definitely against this red-hot Padres team, it's going to be one of those days for old Gutierrez to regress a little bit up to the mean, if you will.
Right. And if you're giving me a bona fide 5 earned runs to the same team, that's a very good team last week or 2 weeks ago, over 5 innings pitched, I think it's going to be a lot of the same here.
Sure enough. So there you go. Beautiful gambling people. 1, 2, and 3 best bets of the day coming from RMags. If you tuned in late or you missed anything there, we will recap all of the best bets of the day here shortly after we get through my best bets and the special play of the day. But moving right along into that second half of today's first segment, my best bets of the day. Told you at the top. 4 best bets coming at you. I got 3 MLB plays and 1 NHL play coming at you, and you better not call me a homer. But we will get things started here at the very top. The first one on my card with the matchup between the Tampa Bay Rays and the Washington Nationals. Yes, I'm going back to this game, and I am taking the Washington Nationals first 5 run line plus a half. I know this pitching matchup on the surface level may not seem like the best one. You got John Lester going against Drew Rasmussen. On the surface level, you see Drew Rasmussen's numbers right now, and you think, wow, he is really excelling. But I'll get to that here in just a minute. However, we also all know how hot the Nationals team is right now. They are absolutely beating the cover off the ball. One of my partner's key analysis yesterday was Kyle Schwarber being a little cold against lefties, and I really liked that. It was true, and he stuck to what he's been doing and beat the cover off the ball yet again. So I like him to continue that trend and the rest of this Nationals offense to continue the rest of their hitting at the plate. But as for the pitching matchup, I told you got John Lester on the mound for the Nationals. His top line numbers aren't the best. I know it. He's not great. He hasn't been good since he left the old Cubbies. Seems like he hasn't been great since 2016. But he has had 7 starts at home, and he does get a little bit better at home than his top line numbers. He's got a .275 opponent batting average allowed at home with a 3.82 ERA over 35 and a third innings pitched. He's allowed 2 runs or less in 3 out of his last 5 home starts. So going back to Nationals Park has really given him a bounce and a little bit more in his step, having those home fans in the crowd, giving him a little bit of extra oomph there behind his pitches. He did have 1 bad outing over his last 10 back on May the 22nd. And then he promptly followed that up with 3 1-earned run outings and then 2 2-earned run outings. He is in that exact same spot here again, coming off of a 7-earned run outing against Miami. Very, very lackluster, not lackluster, no pun intended there. But I believe that he is about to go back on that rebound streak here just before we hit halfway through the season. And anything that he gives up, barring the Rays, do put up any runs here on him. I love these Nationals to have his back and put up equal those runs, if not more. But as for Rasmussen, I told you right now, you look at his numbers. He's got a 0.00 ERA and a 0.82 whip. You look at that and you're like, Cole, how can you bet against a pitcher like that? Well, that's not the full story. Those numbers are 3 official outings for these Tampa Bay Rays. He was traded from the Milwaukee Brewers this season and actually had 15 outings with Milwaukee this season. Over 17 innings pitched, he owns a 4.24 ERA and had 12 outings in 2020 with the same Milwaukee Brewers with a 5.87 ERA over 16 innings pitched, my friends. Those were 3 good games. He's a bullpen guy. This is going to be a bullpen day for the Rays. I think he regresses way back to the mean here, and the red-hot Nationals have their way with him. I could see them putting up another 3-4 in the first inning. No problem whatsoever. But we don't need them to win it all outright. We just need them to tie it. So a couple key trends I like. Tampa Bay is 2-1-3 straight up in the last 5 games overall in the first 5 innings. Washington is 3-2-1 straight up in the first 5 innings in their last 5 overall. The Nats are 6-0 straight up in their last 6 Wednesday games, 6-0 straight up in their last 6 interleague games at home, and Tampa Bay is 0-5 straight up in the last 5 meetings in Washington and 2-5 straight up in the last 7 meetings overall. Once again, we don't need them to win it. We just need them to tie it, and I have more than enough confidence in this Nationals team to get that job done. So one more time, my first best bet of the day, the Washington Nationals first 5 run line plus a half.
I think I like it with you, my man. I think you nailed the Rasmussen analysis there. it's time for a regression for him, no question about it. And like as you mentioned, if you're just looking on ESPN or whatever typical game log, whatever box score that you're looking at, you're gonna see that 0, and is this his first start? Nope. It's just they don't
just
show.
got traded.
Yeah, he just got traded, so.
And they're just showing his one-team stats right
Right.
now, and he will definitely regress back to those 4.5 ERA numbers. He might even put up that many runs, or give up that many runs rather, today. But moving on into my second best bet of the day, let's keep it moving, keep it grooving, no hesitation or delay. I am going back to the matchup between the New York Yankees and the Los Angeles Angels, and I'm taking the Los Angeles Angels first 5 run line plus a half. Honestly, this one for me comes mostly down to the pitching matchup here today, and that the Angels have really been able to put up some runs over the course of their last 5 games, over the last week or so here, in addition to that. Now, you got Shohei Ohtani on the mound for the Angels, and Domingo Germán on the mound for the Yankees. Now, I tested the waters with Germán last week. He was starting to look like he might be a guy that these Yankees can depend on, and he sure is not. 11 starts for him so far on the season. That is the wrong pitcher. Let me get into that in a minute. However, as far as Germán goes, he's given up 3 earned runs in 4 out of his last 5 starts overall, and he hasn't made it out of the 5th inning but one time in all of those 5 starts. Teams have been hitting him, and when I backed him last week, he gave up 3 earned runs by the 3rd inning. He is kind of real inconsistent, and if you can believe it, his numbers actually get a little bit worse at home. 7 home starts for Germán so far this season, and owns a 4.67 ERA over 34 2/3 innings pitched. He hasn't faced the Angels so far yet this year. However, he does have some mediocre numbers against them, or there actually isn't a huge sample size in addition to those mediocre numbers. So I like the Angels to continue to improve those numbers and continue to improve themselves at the plate. As for the opposing pitcher, you know the name, Shohei Ohtani. He has been dominant all season long, and I think he continues that here against the Yankees. He's at 11 starts and owns a 188 opponent batting average. He's got 82 Ks with only 31 walks, a 3-1 record overall with a 2.58 ERA over 59 1/3 innings pitched. Mr. Ohtani has a 2.35 ERA in the month of June, and he has been ripping the cover off the ball. First time he's got to pitch in a little bit now, and with how he's hitting at the plate, I think his pitching is going to be equally as dominant, if not even more. His teammates also know that. They see that, and they're going to give him more than enough run support here today. Once again, we don't need him to win it. We just need him to keep it tied, ladies and gentlemen. But all of those trends for the pitchers, I like them to win it, but at the very least, keep it tied. But as for a few final trends, the Angels are 1-2 straight up in the first 5 innings over their last 5 overall. The losses coming most recently to the Yankees, so I like them to break those trends, get back, and at the very least, keep this tied. The Yankees are 2-3 straight up in the first 5 innings over their last 5 overall. Only 2 coming against the Angels. I think they get back to their trends of not being able to put up a bunch of runs here in the first half of ball games. That's what they've been doing all season long, and I don't think that they're going to get to Ohtani the way that the Angels can get to Germán. Last but not least, the Angels are 7-1 straight up in the last 8 games in Game 3 of a series. LA is also 9-4 straight up in their last 13 games after scoring 5 or more in their previous game. I also like the money line here today. I might do a little sprinkle on the side. Like I said, I think they win this outright, but if you're giving me the line you're giving me with a plus half run backing, I will gladly take it. So my second best bet of the day, the Los Angeles Angels first 5 run line plus a half.
Yeah, I'll be right there with you on this one. This is my favorite of your 4 plays today. It does seem like Shohei Ohtani is, kind of made for the bright lights of Yankee Field, the spotlight. He's done it at the plate, no question about it, and I think he continues that on the mound. This Angels offense has been clipping along just fine. It's, aside from Ohtani, they don't really have any good, if competent pitchers, if anything
No.
like that. So that's kind of why you see them dropping all these games, because they put up at least 5 runs yesterday. They just allowed double-digit runs. So with Ohtani on the mound, I think they keep him low. And as you mentioned with Herman, no confidence in that guy either. So
No confidence whatsoever, and especially after I backed him in somewhat of a similar spot, thinking he could get the job done, and it was nowhere near that. So I will gladly be back on the Angels today. But let's keep it moving into my third best bet of the day. I am going to the matchup between the New York Mets and the Atlanta Braves, and taking the opposite side that we took as a crew yesterday. I'm taking the New York Mets full game run line plus 1.5. The Mets can get it done in certain spots here. They have been able to all season, and I think, though, today is once again one of those spots, one of the random times that they're going to be able to get a win back-to-back. But I like the plus 1.5 back in here. Once again, I think I might do a little money line sprinkle off the pod, but for a best bet, a safe bet, Mets plus 1.5 here today. So you have David Peterson on the mound for the Mets and Max Fried on the mound for the Braves. Both pitchers here are lefties. But for Peterson, he has pitched much better lately, surprisingly, than his top numbers would indicate. Pitched really well against my Cubs and has pitched really well since then. He's given up 1 earned run or less in 3 out of his last 5 starts overall, and has pitched really well against ATL over the course of his career. 37 at-bats, 233 batting average, 351 OBP, and a 647 OPS. Atlanta right now is actually also struggling mightily against lefties. Over the course of their last 5 games, they are 167 at the plate on average, batting average against lefties, 211 on base percentage, and a 0.00 runs per 9. It is not recently. It has been going on over their last 10 games. They are 203 at the plate, 293 on base percentage, and are scoring a 2.96 runs per 9 on average. So these Braves are actually struggling a lot more than you would think, and what their brand name would suggest for actually trying to put up runs here. Now, as for Fried, he hasn't been bad by any means. I am not making this play based off fading him, but I just think it's the spot that he's in. He was actually getting really, really doggone good and starting to find his groove. And why I say getting, he's coming off of a little stint here on the IL. He hasn't pitched in over 2 weeks. And a little contrary to my partner, when those guys come off, I don't like them to bounce back as dominant as they once were. I like them to be on a little bit of a pitch count, a little bit of a inning count. Now, it varies from pitcher to pitcher, but I definitely think that's going to be the case for the young arm of Max Fried here today. They don't want to mess him up for long-term or even any potential playoff hopes that this Braves team might have. Outside of that, why I like the plus 1.5 is also these bullpens. Once whatever happens between this starting pitching matchup, I obviously am leaning more towards Peterson with the value there, but the bullpens loom very large for me. The Mets are actually 9th in the MLB in bullpen ERA at 3.59 with a 232 opponent batting average allowed and a 315 OBP, whereas Atlanta is actually 24th in the MLB in a bullpen ERA with a 4.77, allowing 252 opponent batting average and a 335 on base percentage. So if it gets into the pins, I definitely like if the Mets are trailing in any capacity, which we can have them trailing by 1-1 once again, but if they're trailing in any capacity, I think they can get it turned around by hitting the mess out of this Atlanta bullpen and putting up some runs and squeaking away with another road victory here at a good price. But a couple key trends. I also like the Mets are the Braves. No, goodness gracious. I'm taking the Mets. The Mets are 20-8 ATS as an underdog on the season, so covering the plus 1.5. The Braves are 16-38 ATS as a favorite on the season, not covering that minus 1.5. The Braves are also 13-28 ATS as a home team this season. The Mets 27-25 ATS on no rest compared to the Braves 25-34 ATS on no rest. The Mets 4-0 straight up in their last 4 Wednesday games, and they are 4-1 straight up in the last 5 in Atlanta, 4-2 straight up in the last 6, all of those meetings being in 2021. Give me all of the Mets here today at the plus 1.5 on the run line and a little sprinkle on the money line, but for the best bet, New York Mets plus 1.5.
I think I'll be right there with you on this one. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I could very well see it being a one-score game either way, Braves or Mets. So I think I'll be right there with you. As you mentioned, Peterson has been turning things around big time. So I like it today. I like it.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, sir. So there you got 1, 2, and 3. Let's close it out with number 4. I told you a little bit ago, but if you didn't hear, I'm going to the ice. It's time for a Stanley Cup pick, and I think this is just the spot to back my boys. I am taking the Montreal Canadiens money line. And no, you cannot call me a homer. And no, this is actually not based on my fandom and that I think they should get it done, which I do. However, there's a couple key things I'm looking at that I think the Habs get away with this win here tonight. First of all, the line. They're right around plus 188 right now, somewhere in that ballpark, depending on what book you're looking at. And that's actually been a really profitable spot for them this year. From a plus 175 underdog or more, they are 3-2 straight up on the season, with actually being better as the line ticks up. That's giving them right now around a 30% chance to win this game, and I have it a little bit closer to 50% chance to win this game. I'm not buying this line all too much. I think that plus 160 was a little bit more setup-y, or this one is a little bit more setup for the Lightning. The public are already on them, and 90% of the analysts that you're going to find are already on them, whether it be the Lightning money line or the Lightning minus 1.5. For frame of reference, the Lightning money line, the last time I checked, was getting 60% of bets and 90% of actual money wagered on this game. Can you say severe monetary liability? The books see that. They know that this is Vegas at the end of the day. This once again is a when everybody zigs, Colt zags. I did it on Monday, but I didn't make it an official play today. I made it an official play because I do believe it is a guaranteed hitter. Now, as for the goalies, Vasilevsky has been really doggone good over the course of their last 5 games, honestly, and I think he's due for a little bit of regression. Things happen to human beings and goalies from time to time, and he's been so doggone good and dominant. I think he just has at least one little bit of a regression game here. I'm not saying he's going to give up 10 goals or anything, but I think the Habs are able to put a few more in net than just one like they did on Monday. As for Carey Price, he has been dominant all playoffs long, not just a couple series previous. He has been dominant, and I like him to return to that form. Honestly, that 5-1 game, it wasn't that score. The Habs let that one of those slip-away games late in the third period where the team just starts putting up goals because you can't get anything on net and you kind of concede it. Game 1 of a Stanley Cup playoff. They're not going to concede this game. I absolutely love the Habs to get the job done tonight. They have not lost back-to-back games in these playoffs since going down 3-1 to the Maple Leafs. Okay. They have been dominant, and they should be just fine. But a couple key trends I really like. They are 12-9 straight up on the road after a loss this season. Tampa Bay is 22-26 straight up after a win overall this season, and Montreal is 15-6-5 straight up on 1 day's rest after a loss. You could also look at me and say, but Colt, the Habs are 0-7 straight up in the last 7 meetings in Tampa Bay. And I would point you to the fact that outside of Game 1, the last matchup played in Tampa Bay was May the 5th of 2020, and then the remainder were in 2019. So I'm not buying it. This is not the same Habs team from 2019. We clearly all know that because they were nowhere near a Stanley Cup final. Too many people are on the Bolts tonight, ladies and gentlemen, whether it is the money line or the minus 1.5. When everybody zigs, Colt zags. If you want to hop on the zagging train with me, let's ride the Montreal Canadiens money line.
Interesting play, my man. I can't hate you on it, and I think you got some serious value there. Don't know if I'll be riding it with you. Maybe I'll talk myself into it, or you'll talk me into it. Obviously, I'm not the hockey capper over here, so we'll see. We'll see if I
know you don't like getting crazy with NHL, but I absolutely love the Habs to get it done here today. They've been sneaky in these spots. They've been real dangerous in these spots, especially the long line on the road. Everybody and their dogs thinks that this is going to be the Lightning's game. All the stars are pointing in that direction. Well, guess what star is not pointing in that direction? Las Vegas. the star in the middle of the desert. They are not pointing that direction. I will be siding with Vegas tonight and taking note of that severe monetary liability they are facing if the Tampa Bay Lightning win this evening.
I do like your analysis on Vasilevsky regressing a little bit.
I think so too.
I do like that.
I obviously think so, but
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I do.
I appreciate that. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it. 1, 2, 3, and 4. My best bets of the day. Be sure to recap those for you here in just a little bit. But let's keep this show chugging on down the tracks. We got tickets to cash. It's time for the second segment of today. And we're going to have 2 parts to this one as well. The first half of the second segment of the day, you know the deal, the special play of the day. The first special play of the day, my personal favorite. I know my partner's personal favorite from time to time, depending on the team we have there, but I absolutely love this because I am a fan of dogs and teams that need to get the job done. Ladies and gentlemen, today's Wednesday Warrior is live and in prime time.
That was a good one. I like that.
So, if you don't know what the Wednesday Warrior is, you ain't never seen it before. It is a team that is consistently either whether they've been in a underdog spot or whether they've just been in a spot where they need to get the job done or whatever the case might be, they have been a warrior, whether it be on the spread, on the money line, whatever the case, whatever the best bet is, we target that team and we make them our Wednesday Warrior. So today, we're going to the hardwood. We got an NBA play, and you guys are probably already thinking you know right where we're going. Hey, but guess what? We're not like every other analyst out there. And my partner agreed with me on this one. When everybody's zigging, once again, Colt zags, and now RMags is zagging right alongside with him. So, partner, could you please indulge these kind people as to what our Wednesday Warrior special play of the day is today?
Not a problem. So we are taking the Clippers money line tonight. Now this is a Warrior spot because the Clippers, with their backs against the wall, have gotten obviously this playoffs gotten the job done every single time. And obviously Ty Lue, best record in NBA history when facing elimination games. So needless to say, I like the Clippers money line tonight, as do you. Clippers defense has been fantastic this whole playoff series. After game 1, the Suns' highest point total was 104, and when they were in LA, they held the Suns down to 92 and 84 points. I think they keep them under 100 once again tonight. This Suns team appears to be running out of gas, at least on the offensive end, and the Clippers have proved, as I mentioned, they are comfortable with their backs to the wall. I don't know if Paul George, we both kind of have the same opinion on this, don't know if Paul George is going to go off like he did in the second half of Game 5. Yes, Game 5, where he put up 30 in the second half. Not saying he's going to do that, but he's going to do enough consistently throughout the game to keep this team in the right spot. And I know my partner likes him, and I agree with him. Reggie Jackson, I think, is going to have a big game tonight. He has to be, or at least one of these other role players on top of Paul George is going to have to step up in some capacity, and I think they do. But the biggest thing for me is just the Clippers defense compared to the Suns, kind of sputtering offense, partner. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you, and I'm glad you mentioned Reggie Jackson because what he's doing right now in these playoffs is really going under the radar, and he's averaging right about 12, 13 points a game right now, but he has actually scored 20 plus in 4 out of his last 5 games overall. So he has been impressive. He has been on fire from behind the arc, shooting at about a 40% clip right now from behind the arc. I also think Terrence Mann steps up here today. He's had a couple single-digit games over the last 5, and they're going to need the young man to step up and get the job done here. I think he has more than enough capacity to do that in front of the LA fans. Do I think we get another 40-point outing from PG-13? Not necessarily. However, I do think we at least get a 25-30 bomb from him. I think we see at least 4 or 5 guys, if not, I wouldn't say the entire starting lineup. I would say 4 of the guys on the starting lineup and then maybe Batum or Cousins coming off the bench. We're going to see at least 4 or 5 guys here in double digits, in my opinion. So with all that being said, I love them. Everybody and their dogs love the Suns, and the Suns minus 1.5, plus 1.5 at a pick, whatever it is. The Suns should close it out. You know the deal. I told you it yesterday. You should have hammered it in with me, the Hawks money line and the Hawks plus 6.5. My partner was still kind of on the fence about it. when it is the NBA playoffs, and we are talking about Vegas and the way things work, ladies and gentlemen. So we are going to be fading the public and what everybody else thinks yet again, and siding with a key game here for the Clippers. So for our Wednesday Warrior special play of the day, the Los Angeles Clippers money line.
It's almost like people are just expecting, they have to close it out now. They have to now. It's like, no, this Clippers team ain't no joke, man.
No,
they do not
they
quit.
are not. They do not.
And as we are seeing, it is about as wide open this NBA playoffs. I'm not even counting the Clippers out of the NBA Finals conversation anymore,
I'm not
man.
at all.
I mentioned it a couple weeks ago, couple weeks ago, kind of building on Reggie Jackson. Whoever's going to win this finals.
You want to save all this for the Rants Reactions?
Nah, kind of hammers home this point for the
okay.
Clippers money line. Whoever is going to step up and propel their team to the finals and beyond is going to be not necessary. Obviously, their star player has to play well, but on top of that, at least one of these role players, and Reggie Jackson might be that guy.
Yeah, I think definitely that's definitely why we both mentioned him. So I think he will be that guy as well. So there you go, the first special play of the day, the Wednesday Warrior, Los Angeles Clippers money line. Now you know the second special play of the day on this beautiful Wednesday is the Wednesday Parlay Pop-Off. If you're not familiar, once again, we take the Wednesday Warrior, one of RMags' best bets and one of my best bets. We parlay those three bad boys up and make it the Parlay Pop-Off for some pretty juicy odds, and we aim to get that bad boy to the pay window. We don't do a whole lot more analysis or trends or anything else because we've already told you about all the picks and everything and every reason why we like them. So we just lay it out. So for today's Wednesday Parlay Pop-Off, overall odds right around plus 489. We are taking, obviously, the Wednesday Warrior, the Los Angeles Clippers money line. Then we will be taking RMags pick, the Blue Jays minus 1.5. And then we will be taking my pick at the Los Angeles Angels first 5-run line plus 0.5. So those are the three best bets on the Wednesday Parlay Pop-Off. But in case you missed them, we're right at that time. It's time to get into the best bets of the day for Wednesday, June 30th, 2021, last day of the month. Let's close this bad boy strong and look into July with nothing but bright eyes, fresh smiles, green coming our direction. So kicking things off today, let's recap today's best bets of the day. Here we go. Here we are. Where? We are in Staples Center. Okay, I couldn't see the logo there on the hardwood, but I do now. I see it's the Clippers logo. So without further ado, today's best bets of the day. The left side of your screen, ladies and gentlemen, you have RMags picks. 3 locks coming at you. The Colorado Rockies money line, the Toronto Blue Jays minus 1.5, and the San Diego Padres minus 1.5. To the right of that, the other half of the crew, my best bets of the day. I am taking the Montreal Canadiens money line, the Washington Nationals first 5-run line plus 0.5, the Los Angeles Angels first 5-run line plus 0.5, and the New York Metropolitans plus 1.5. Below all of the best bets of the day, the 7 favorite picks coming from the TTL crew. You got the not Monday Madness parlay. You have the Wednesday Parlay Pop-Off.
Damn it.
It is the Clippers money line, the Los Angeles Angels first 5-run line plus 0.5, and the Toronto Blue Jays minus 1.5. Parlay those up, odds of right around plus 489. You put you a nice little 10 spot on there, and we'll get about a $60 grand total payout on that. And then last but not least, the Wednesday Warrior all the way to the left. If you just want to play that bad boy, we are taking the Clippers money line. There you have it, the 7, 8, and 9 best bets coming from the TTL crew today. Hammer them in, lock them home, sprinkle a little bit of dough down, whatever you like to say or need to say. Just make sure you get the best bets of the day in it, whatever the current best line is on your favorite sportsbook. You might see some additional stuff on the screen there. If you're listening, you obviously can't see it, so I'll tell you, it's the Moneyline Dice. It's about time to get into the Moneyline Dice roll of the day, but just as a quick reminder, told you at the top of the show, we are, or they are rather, rolling today for the matchup between the Kansas City Royals and the Boston Red Sox. I'm excited to get them out. I don't want to wait around any longer here.
Stars of the show right now.
We're going to get right into it. Today's Moneyline Dice roll of the day. As always, let me grab our guest of honor here. Get us a little bit of room.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So first things first. Let me... If you could be so kind, partner, as I get the stage set in the studios, if you could get the stage set for the game between the Royals and Red Sox here, who we got as a dog, who we got as a favorite, you know, your usual. What's the total? Where are we playing at? Any additional storylines we and they need to know about this game coming up this evening?
Okay, so as my partner mentioned, Royals, Red Sox. So far in this series, the Red Sox have won the first two games of this series, 5-6 and 6-7. So been tight games, high-scoring games. But the Royals are putting out Mike Minor, lefty, today, 6-5 record, 6-5 record, 5.12 ERA. Little bit shaky for Mike Minor, and these Red Sox hit lefties well. However, they are rolling out Martin Perez, 5-4 record, 4.1 ERA. He's been a little shaky himself. Not been too bad lately, but still not consistent enough for us to feel confident enough in him to take him as one of our best bets. For the money lines today, Red Sox minus 162, Royals at plus 138. Run lines, Red Sox minus 1.5 is at plus money 112, and the Royals plus 1.5 is at minus 128. The over-under in this game is actually set at 11, with the over sitting at plus 100 right now, and the under 11 at minus 115. Bet splits on this one, the public and the money is on the Red Sox. 75% of the bets on the Red Sox, with 81% of the money on Boston. And the total, a little bit of a different story here. 59% of the bets on the over 11, while 68% of the money is on the under. So big split there. Big money coming in on that under 11. Big total. Bit of a tricky one because you kind of think, okay, these offenses are hitting well. That should go over, right? Or maybe that's just too big of a number. It should stay under. That big money's coming in on the under, and this team's apparently, the big money suggests that they are going to cool off a little bit. As I mentioned, Red Sox do hit lefties very well, and Mike Minor is coming off of a pretty shaky start, to say the least. So, as I mentioned, not quite confident enough in this to take a side, because Martin Perez in his own right can be a little bit shaky. He is, in the month of June, sporting a 5.49 ERA, so nothing special. Last two, however, 0 earned runs and 1 earned runs allowed, actually faced the Royals about 2 weeks ago. 5 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run. So if you're going off that, you're liking Martin Perez to stay hot against the Royals and in general. While Mike Minor, I mentioned last start, pretty damn rough. 5 innings pitched, 11 hits, 9 earned runs to the Texas Rangers, and they lost that game 9-4. So all on the shoulders of Mike Minor. And he's got a 6.03 ERA in June himself. But as we've mentioned before, this Royals team can be pretty damn scrappy on offense. So just when you think they're ice cold and that pitching rotation is going to lose them a shitload of games, their offense can surprise us.
I would keep that out for just a little longer, partner.
Still struggling a little bit?
To go.
All righty. Well, I will keep it rolling then. As I mentioned, Red Sox hitting lefties well on the season. They are among the top 5 teams, I believe, against left-handed pitchers. I mentioned they took the first 2 games of this series, but versus lefties, last 10 games, 291 batting average, 386 OBP, 6 runs per game, 6 runs per 9. So they are tearing the cover off the ball as per usual. That's even higher than their season average. Season average 265 batting average, 325 OBP, 5.18 runs per 9. While the Royals on the season, 245 batting average, 3.84 runs per 9. And last 10 actually down a little bit. Not, they're up on righties, hitting well against righties. Lefties right now, a little shaky. 225 batting average, 313 OBP, 3.32 runs per 9. So this Royals offense, as I mentioned, they'll get sneaky. They have scored 5 and 6 runs the last 2 in losses, but that pitching rotation, you never know. And, they're kind of all over the place. Last 10 games, they are 2-8. They have lost 7 in a row. They have lost 7 games in a row. Like I said, a little shaky on offense here and there, but their offense is not the problem. It's the pitching staff. And I don't know if they get it done with Mike Minor on the mound today, but You never know with Martin Perez. Anywhere near here, partner.
Well, I know you're struggling for information over there, so we'll.
That's about the end of the well that I got for this
I get
game.
it. Actually, just as you said that, getting it going here, everything was working all right. The problem was in the glitchiness of the software. It was just kind of a little slow there, but that's okay. No problem, no harm, no foul. We're gonna get that closed out. We're going to get this closed out. We're going to make that the main thing. All right. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, no, I do apologize, Mags. If you could take just one more brief second, I should be good to go here. Just want to make sure because you don't need to see glitchy video on your screen. You know what I'm talking about?
No question.
You guys don't want to see no glitchy, goofy, weird video on your screen. It's either good or no good. So I'm going to try correcting it one more time here. If I can't get it, we're just going to proceed with the Moneyline Dice roll of the day, and I'll be sure to roll up there and show you guys the die just so you could see it. So let me try one more time here, partner, and if not, we will move right along with the show.
All right. Interesting tidbit here. Shane Livensbarger, one of the umpires for today. Home money line record 7-3, while the under record for that guy is 2-8. So we'll see if the dice taps into some umpire trends. They are getting pretty savvy these days. I believe they're 14-6 over their last 20 games, and obviously 4-0 to start the week to get themselves positive. As I mentioned about the money splits, sharp indicator for the action app says sharp money on the over, so that means people who know their shit, that's sharp money, while the big money coming in on the under 11. So I'm like I said, I really don't know on this one. I could see it going over, I could see it going under. I'm leaning towards Red Sox if it's my own opinion, just because they tear the cover off the ball against lefties a little bit more than the Royals, and I trust Martin Perez a tiny bit more than I trust Mike Minor, because I don't trust Mike Minor at all. But that's why we don't take him on the best bets, and that's why we let the dice lay down their knowledge, because they know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, we ain't having it today.
All right.
I'm not going to jack around with it anymore. I'm not an IT professional, and who cares either way right now? Let's keep the show moving and grooving. Partner told you everything he can. Let's not hesitate or delay any longer. Home or away? First roll, as always. Are we taking the home team, Boston Red Sox, or the away team, Kansas City Royals? We all find out in 3, in 2, in 1. The away team,
Royals.
Kansas City Royals,
All
for
right.
the first roll of the day. For the second roll, doesn't really matter because we don't have it on camera.
Still like it there.
With the second roll, will we be taking their money line, or are we going to take the run line at plus 1.5 for these Kansas City Royals? In 3, in 2, in 1.
Money line.
Money line it
Okay.
is. So the first selection from the dice, the Kansas City Royals money line. Moving right along, the wild card roll of the day. Will we be doubling down? Will we re-roll? Or are we just going to go right on over to the total? Do the die know something we don't? We all will find out in 3, in 2, in 1.
The under.
Under it is.
Under 11. All
The
right.
away money line and under 11, just to prove the fact, as always. Little walk down memory lane, if you will. I'll bring these dice up there just so you guys can see them today.
Sure.
Partner, anything else you need to wrap up? I'll be right back on by here in a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I laid out about as much analysis or stats, storylines as I can on that one. I said I was leaning towards the Red Sox, and I think I was leaning towards the under, but the dice said, screw you, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Royals offense, as I mentioned, is pretty sneaky at times, and who knows what Martin Perez has in store for us. But apparently a nice little bounce back from Mike Minor. That is right on screen there, partner. You are right on.
Still got it.
Still got it. And so as my partner comes back over here, I got to trust the dice. I might even up my units on the plays that I make for the dice, because they are red hot, and, things are rolling along for them. 14-6 the last 24-0 to start the week, and they've got 2 coming at us today. Big total, they're going under. Big underdog, they're going for on the money line. Let's cash a couple more for the money line dice today, partner.
The dice have spoken. If you want a guaranteed take 2 tickets to the window tonight, you heard it here first from the Moneyline Dice. The Kansas City Royals money line and under game total of
11.
11 runs. There you go, the 2 best bets from the Moneyline Dice today. Sorry for the technical difficulties, but you still got to see them anyway. Thank you, Dice. Thank you, Dice. We appreciate you, and as much as we appreciate the Moneyline Dice, we want you guys to appreciate them too. So why don't you go on and get your own set? They are now 27, 25, and 1 on the TTL pod, so better than 50%. So you can bank on the Moneyline Dice if you want to get your own or any of the other amazing merch that Moneyline Dice has at their company. We put their website link in this episode's description. You can click on it, and we also put our coupon code right in the description as well. It is TTL10, TTL10. You'll get 10% off your first order on MoneylineDice.com. You can get yourself some dice, a tracking book, MMA scorecard, many other things to mention, but they have some great merch over there. Start rolling with the crew, start rolling with the Moneyline Dice. Get yourself your own set, and let's cash some Moneyline Dice tickets, baby.
Let's do it.
There we have it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Today's Moneyline Dice roll of the day.
Stay hot, Dice.
Stay hot, Dice. Let me get resituated here. Been quite a while since I had to do that. We got everything set up, but for some reason, the video for the Moneyline Dice, the usual roll, it was like glitchy, and I don't know if it was the internet connection or what it was on there. Sometimes that app is not the greatest. It's a little weird, but nonetheless, you guys got to see it. There's the Moneyline Dice roll of the day. That does it for the first half of today's show. All of the best bets of the day, the favorite plays, the trends analysis, everything behind them, and whatever else we sprinkled in between. We're about to dive into the rest of the sports world and sports gambling world with the latest news and hot takes. So if you're about to head out of here and one of the kind folks that just stops by for the betting half of the show, first and foremost, thank you so much for taking a few moments, as always, out of your day. Come and kick it with me and RMags, get some plays, and help us bankrupt these books. We got another daily battle to get after today, and we can't thank you guys enough for helping us in that battle and getting deep in the trenches right alongside with us. If you really are headed out of here now, we hope you have a spectacular rest of your Wednesday, unless you have other plans, but don't stay away for too long. We'll see you on tomorrow's show, because you know the drill. We need your help bankrupting these sports books, one play at a time. So peace and love. But for the rest of you sticking around for the second half of today's show, it's about that time. Rants and Reactions are now live, and the second half of the show is underway. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into it. Let's not waste any time. Hell of an episode so far, partner. Got some solid value, solid stuff coming out. Before I get deep down into some MMA news, world of fighting, everything in between, anything get off your chest, anything discuss, percolating to the top you seen here as we start today's Rants and Reactions?
Oh no, my man. As I mentioned at the top, I am, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling dangerous. We've got a nice slate of action coming our way. I feel very good about all of it.
I do believe your Rockies are underway here very shortly, in about an hour.
No, they're at 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Oh, okay.
There's a different game at 12. I forgot.
Yeah, I don't know what the game at 12 was,
so.
But either way, that's what we got going on. Mags is feeling dangerous today, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm feeling dangerous as well. I got the broom back out of the closet. Oh, it's the Diamondbacks and Cardinals, and then my Cubbies and Brewers at 1:10 before your Colorado Rockies pick. But got the brooms out of the closet, ready to do a little sweeping today against these books. But let's talk some nonsense. First things first, little MMA, UFC, world of fighting, everything in between. Promised you guys I would be bringing it, and I am. First things first, partner, let me ask you, do you know who Fedor Emelianenko is?
No idea.
I would not believe that you would. He is one of the most legendary fighters ever.
Okay.
Has not ever fought in the UFC, so that's why I am not surprised you don't know the name.
Fair.
But he is one of the most dominant Russian fighters to ever grace us as fight fans with his presence in many, many organizations. He fought in Pride. Fought in Glory, I do believe. Fought in Ryzen most recently after coming out of retirement in 2012. Came back for that and actually just knocked out Rampage Jackson.
Really?
In December of 2020, or was it 2019? It was...
Looks like 2019 on what you wrote down.
Yes, it was 2019. He KO'd Rampage Jackson in 2019. So, Fedor's back. He is 44 years old. So when you get to that age and you're still dominant on one of those retirement tours, if you will, as a fighter, whatever promotion you're fighting under tends to bend head over heels for you and do a lot of things because they know you carry a lot of weight, a lot of fan base, and will bring in a lot of money. So now Fedor is back signed with Bellator, and Bellator has announced an October 23rd card that will be headlined by Fedor Emelianenko in the capital of his home country of Russia, Moscow, at the VBT Center. I cannot wait to see this man get back in the cage. I cannot wait for you to be able to see him fight. He's a heavyweight. He's dominant. He's one of the most electric judo fighters. I mean, his hands, his throws. He is...
Still got it?
Oh, he still got it.
Still got it?
He's still got it. He's actually won 4 out of his last 5 fights.
Wow.
And coming off of that Rampage Jackson KO in 2019.
I'm a big Rampage fan.
Yeah, and Rampage is great.
I'm a big Rampage fan.
Yeah, Rampage is a great fighter. Obviously, we all know the story behind that big man. But yeah, they fought in Ryzen in Japan, and Fedor got that KO, so pretty doggone sweet. But very excited. That's one thing I wanted to mention. Fedor is coming back. If you are a fight fan, he will be back October 23rd, live from Moscow, Russia. Opponent still TBD, but it is on a Bellator card, and we do get to see the old man finally come back to the cage once again. So if you are a fight fan, you know the name. Fedor is coming back. Another little bit of information, if you are also a fight fan, previous rival of the aforementioned Rampage Jackson, Sugar Rashad Evans, has announced he is coming out of retirement, will no longer just be doing post-fight broadcasting for the UFC. He is now going to be getting back into the octagon or ring.
Still undecided?
Say or ring because we are still in preliminary discussions of this whole shebang, but Rashad Evans' management has reached out to the Logan Paul camp. It is Logan Paul. I wanted to make sure I said the right one. Has reached out to the Logan Paul camp for a potential boxing match, and also the Roy Jones Jr. camp for a potential boxing match. Basically, what it sounds like to me from the quotes that I could read from Rashad, he needs a little bit of extra money in the bank account and sees how much these exhibition boxing matches are bringing in millions and millions and millions of dollars. And he said, well, shit, I can strap on some. There is no way that these YouTubers are knocking out everybody at this rate. I can strap on some gloves and give it a run once again. Why the hell not? So Sugar Rashad back in action, strapping the boxing gloves on, maybe even the MMA if it makes sense per him for both sides, both parties.
I would imagine boxing, but MMA would be electric between either of those two
MMA
guys.
would be awesome.
It has to be boxing, though, right?
I would say so, especially Roy Jones Jr.
Right, yeah.
Maybe you could convince Logan after how much he's been doing, but I highly doubt it.
I would be surprised, but at the same time, it wouldn't surprise me if he said, screw it, I'll do it.
Yeah, I guess, but I still,
the way he's going right now, though, you have to think he's going to stick with boxing.
with how good he's been boxing lately, I just don't think he moves away from that. But
I don't think so either.
Word on the street is, ladies and gentlemen, that we're going to be seeing Sugar Rashad Evans here. Might not be this year, it may be this year, but as per now, it's right in the preliminary discussions of Sugar Rashad strapping up the gloves again, maybe getting back in the ring. Probably not the cage, though. One other, couple other little bits of information coming out. We got Fight Night. No, not Fight Night. UFC 264 next weekend. Huge card. McGregor Poirier 3. It is loaded. It is stacked. I told you on Monday I am so looking forward to the return of Kevin Lee. He's back. All right, let's go. Kevin Lee has now faced another injury, broken rib per reports, and is out of the UFC 264 card. The return of Kevin Lee is still on hold, ladies and gentlemen. If you can't hear by my voice, I am depressed. I have been waiting to see Kevin Lee get back in the cage for so long. He's been battling knee injuries, been battling shoulder injuries, and then now he's got the rib. We're talking a week out from the fight. I mean, this is not what you want to hear, but T's and P's to Kevin Lee. Hopefully he can get things going. I'm not sure who his opponent was, but hopefully they can get a replacement. We still got another scrap on there. Another fight that is now in jeopardy. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Luis Smolka. Luis Smolka pulls out because of a staph infection. So now Sugar Show is without an opponent. Now, shouldn't be too hard to find him an opponent in the bantamweight division.
That's what I was going to say.
There's about a line 10 miles long of guys who would fight him. I think it's really disrespectful to the Sugar Show that he is no longer ranked inside the top 15. I think he is well deserving, and I think whenever he runs through whoever they put in front of him on short notice, the Sugar Show will be right back on top of the mountain. So really looking forward to seeing Sean fight. I hope they can find him an opponent, but it doesn't seem that it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, he's, as you mentioned, not quite ranked, but as far as rankings, as far as watchability and who you're turning on a fight to watch, he is top 20, if not top 10 of the UFC of guys you have to watch. So for that matter, the UFC is going to bend over backwards finding a competent opponent or at least a watchable opponent for him.
Right, and another thing that comes along with Sean O'Malley is that fan base.
Yeah.
He has consistently, don't get it twisted, just because he's been injured and hadn't been in the cage doesn't mean that he hasn't been working on growing his brand and his presence across the internet and across the world and across the United States right now. He has been blowing up, and he is going to be bringing quite the fan base and quite the payday if he can get the job done. So I think they'll find somebody for him. I don't know who. I tried to make a couple educated guesses out of the top 15, but none really make any sense to me. I didn't want to jump the gun and say anybody. Maybe I'll tell you guys beginning of next week who I had in mind, or maybe tomorrow I'll look a little bit deeper, because just looking on the surface level, there are so many guys in the bantamweight division that I didn't even realize we're in the bantamweight division. Like, you're 135? How is that possible? I thought you were 155. So I got to dive back into bantamweight, and I don't know, maybe I'll give you 2, 3, 4 guys, I think, if per chance they don't get a fight signed today.
Right. I think they probably do by the end of the week, going into Monday for the fight week.
Yeah.
But as you mentioned, it shouldn't be too hard. Anyone who maybe doesn't have a ton of spotlight on them, that's an easy way to get the spotlight on them. So shouldn't be any problem.
There you go. There you have it. That's the UFC. So we covered Bellator. We covered UFC. Let's cover one more. The PFL. One of your favorite fighters, my friend, Anthony Showtime Pettis, has transferred over there.
I'm a fan. I don't know. I would say one of my favorites.
Oh, I thought you were a big fan.
I'm a fan.
My apologies. No, you're a fan. Either way.
I'm a fan.
Thought you're much bigger than that. I thought he was kind of equal to your Sugar Show. Somewhere in there. Either way. That all being said,
I like him, but yeah.
Anthony Showtime has gotten out of the UFC. Right. His contract was up, and he's one of those guys. He's not young by any means, but he's still one of the young guys. He can get it done. One of the lower level promotions. I don't even want to say PFL is a lower level promotion. It's still a top-notch promotion. It's just not UFC. He goes over there, loses his first fight, and has his second fight 2 days ago, and loses by unanimous decision, and is now 0-2 in the PFL. Not a good look for Pettis. Might be getting real close to the time where we leave the gloves in the octagon. Not sure where Pettis goes from here after these 2 losses. He's always been one of my favorite fighters to watch. You always go back to the cage kick against Benson Henderson. I mean, that will forever go down in WEC history forever and ever and ever. I mean, most of the guys that came over to the UFC from the WEC are long gone at this point, but those were some of the most electric fighters. Those were some of the guys that I absolutely loved, and some of those that whole era is kind of now starting to get phased out of the UFC with a lot of these newer guys. So kind of took a walk down memory lane diving into Showtime last night, but not looking so good for him over in the PFL, not looking so good for a lot of these old dogs now.
Yeah, I mean, Pettis himself, he's got a lot of miles on him, a lot of fight miles. His fight age is older than his literal age, I would say.
Yeah, he's got about equal scar tissue to Nate Diaz,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
you touch him once and he's going to start gushing. You
Right.
can about guarantee that. But that's all I got for the world of fighting, MMA, UFC, PFL, Bellator, everything in between. I'm going to keep diving deep, bringing you guys the latest information, news, and giving you some rants and reactions if anything of noteworthy comes out. But there you go. For all of that, let's keep it moving right along in the second half of today's show. Quick little reminder, the NFL regular season, actually, we'll spend a little extra time here in the NFL. 72 days, my friends, and the NFL regular season will be upon us. And it is now official. All 32 NFL teams are okayed for full capacity at their stadiums this season. We're coming back.
It's going to be a hell of a
It's
season.
a go. So with that being said, my friend, now we kind of have an outlook. No team has any disadvantage. They now have their home field fans in the seats. Want to do a little way too damn early division winners?
I'm down for it.
All right.
I'm always down for this shit.
So quickly, we will go through.
Well, first of all, am I the only one that thinks as we get closer that 72, it feels longer than it did a week ago? It was like 80, 90. And as we're getting closer, I'm just so anxious for it and anticipating it that the closer we get right now, it seems...
I think that's just you, bub.
I think so. I just can't wait for the NFL.
Because last time I checked, 70 is shorter than 90.
Not literally. I mean, it was just like, 90. That's far away. Not worried about it. Not even barely thinking about it. Now it's 72, and I'm like, damn, that still seems like a lot.
So far away.
It's so far, but I really want it so bad.
I don't know. Hey, that's you, my friend. But I am just as juiced up as you are for the 72 days away. However, let's start things, actually, we'll save that one for the NFC North for the last. You know who he's going to take out of the NFC North. Obviously, you have my idea, but I don't know.
We could say, for that one, we could say excluding our favorite
fine.
teams.
NFC North.
Exclude. I mean, I'm going to say the Packers.
And, so... I want to say the Bears, but I don't know. I have ultimate faith in Justin Field. I have ultimate faith in everything, what's going on, as I do every season, but it's still the Bears. We still got a couple of question marks.
If you can't take your favorite team, who are we taking?
Well, I ain't taking the Vikes. I don't think I can. Maybe.
I don't know.
Actually, they got a doggone good team. I don't think you can take the Lions. I think you're going to see Dan Campbell need a year plus to get things going.
But they'll have some rough losses.
I mean, I suppose I could say the Packers, but as a Bears fan, I don't want to say the Packers. As a bettor, I would say the Packers, but I don't know. I honestly, this is not me jabbing you. I have no fucking idea what's going on in the Packers front office. I don't know what's going on in the Packers organization. The man still ain't at fucking OTAs. The man is still golfing. Like, there's too many question marks, and this is a never before conquered waters that this team has been in, and I don't know. There's a lot of question marks as to how this season shakes out for me. You as a fan, you can turn up your nose all you want, but it's some serious, legitimate question marks. Like, who the hell knows what is going on over there? And, I mean, Rose could just walk in off the street. Now, here we go. Happy-go-lucky. Everything. Boys, bright eyes, smiles. Let's go. Here we go. Looking good. Or shit could hit the fucking fan, and it could be a dumpster fire of a 2021 season for you.
I mean, if he's not there, then I don't know what I'm going to expect out of the Packers if he's not there. But as far as if he comes back, and I do expect him to come back, I don't think there's going to be issues because you've already heard him mention it. He's got no issues with his fellow teammates, his coaching staff. It's with the front office, and the front office isn't doing the coaching. So once he is in there and on the field, I see no issues. So that's why I like the Packers. Gun to my head, without the Packers, I think I'm going Vikes, just because they still got some semblance of some solid players on both sides of the ball. Justin Jefferson is the real deal. I don't like Kirk Cousins, so that's kind of making me a lot more reluctant, but nothing the other two teams have done. And because Andy Dalton, it sounds like he's going to be the week 1 starter. I don't think he's going to be there for too long, but that's not gonna help you out early on in the season, I don't think.
No, it's not. It's not at all. I honestly, I do not see any humanly possible way, and you cannot look me in the eyes and tell me that anybody would start Andy Dalton in week 1. Like, there is no sane human being on this planet that's going to do that. They want to keep shit under wraps as much as they can because of the firepower. I mean, if Andy Dalton starts in week 1, it will be the single-handedly stupidest decision that Bears organization might have made yet. That you regardless, because if you put Andy Dalton in and we go 0-4, you're even more fucked.
That's fair. Because
then Justin Fields, not only he had all the pressure, oh my gosh, he's got to come in week 1 and perform. Now he has to do that with an 0-4 fucking record, and then has to be the worst quarterback in Chicago Bears history and live all the Chicago fans down. I don't want to see that for him. Don't fucking start Andy Dalton, damn it. Please don't. Please don't ruin this season already. Please don't. That's where I'm at on that.
That's all fair. I typically go in the mindset of either, not to say that it happens all the time, not to say that it ever happens every time, but there is something to be said for throwing a guy out there week 1, having him not quite ready for that game speed, and having him totally ruined for not just that season, but the rest of his career. Sure. So I kind of like those rookies too, unless they're fully ready to kind of sit on the sidelines for a week or two and see how things go. Even if for a game, which, I know you don't like to hear, but
yeah, I know.
Anyways, let's move out of that.
I know. Either way,
we could stay here for an hour.
Yeah, we could too with both of our fandoms being there. NFC South. Bucks repeat.
For the division, yeah.
Bucks repeat.
Yeah, for the division, yeah.
No question.
For the division. I could see the Panthers taking a step up, not necessarily for the division, but just in general.
But the Bucks will get the division, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely, because the Saints still have a great team, but it kind of depends on if you think Jameis Winston is going to be, 40 picks a year, Jameis Winston, or he's got his eyes fixed and now he might be decent Jameis Winston.
We'll see what happens.
But, Bucks for the division repeat.
All right. West Coast, NFC West.
Oof. This is a tough one. Anywhere you're leaning?
Just because I think Matthew Stafford is that damn good, I am going the LA Rams to get the division again this year.
Yeah,
I like McVay to have a very deep playoff run this season.
I do too. I'm right there with you on that one. I think the 49ers bounce back and get into the playoffs. I think it's going to be the Rams and 49ers fighting tooth and nail for that.
Right there.
For that division spot.
I'm thinking Cardinals.
Okay.
I'm thinking Cardinals. I don't think 49ers. I don't think Trey Lance is the answer to every single one of their problem. That team, over the course of the last few seasons, they have been dominant on the defensive side of the ball. Offensive side of the ball has some question marks. As Trey Lance, like you said, it's all on his shoulders now. He has to come in and perform from snap one. There is nobody else.
Well, they got Jimmy G.
They got Jimmy G, but it is on Trey Lance's shoulders for everybody. There isn't no Andy Dalton question mark going on in the 49ers facility.
Pretty sure Jimmy G's still favored to be the week 1 starter.
I don't think those favored mattered at all. Trey Lance is their guy with all the stuff that's happened with Jimmy G. I just think there's too many question marks, and they've been really battling injuries over the course of the last 4, 5, 6, 4 years or so. So,
I still like the Rams, though.
Yeah, I like the Rams, definitely. And then the NFC East.
NFC Beast.
Yeah, you fucking we'll see what happens. I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go fucking crazy because I don't care, and I'm going to fall into the damn trap that every other human being on this planet does every other single season, but they have the comeback player of the year ready to rock and roll. Dallas Cowboys are taking the NFC East. America's team, baby.
I thought you were going to get crazy like I am about to and say the Washington football team to take the division. That defense is no joke, man.
I don't think there's enough Fitzmagic left.
I'm buying into the Fitzmagic. I'm drinking the crazy pills, taking the crazy pills with Ryan Fitzmagic because that defense was no freaking joke. And might I remind you, Dak Prescott was fantastic before he got injured, but they were still not a good team.
Defense.
They were brutal on defense.
I understand.
1-3, I believe, and they should have been 0-4. They pulled out the, rabbit out of their hat, beating the Falcons in that week 2 collapse from the Falcons.
A lot of bad culture in that locker room. They cut a lot of those guys out.
Yeah, that's
There's
fair.
a lot of stuff, a lot of guys you can see talking to the media that said some less than desirable things, and your boy Double M's did not like in that locker room. They're out of there. It's time to smash some more watermelons. America's team.
You said
is
my boy.
winning
I don't have
AFC
the
East.
faith in Mike McCarthy.
Oh, well, I do.
I don't.
I do.
I think if somebody else was the head coach for the Packers, we'd have a couple more rings.
Wow.
Not,
Mags throwing some serious shade at Mike McCarthy on this Wednesday. Unwarranted. Whoa.
Football team, baby.
What's the beef? So you're going? We'll stay away from that. I don't want to get you too hurt about Mike McCarthy there. Gosh darn, there's some deep-rooted scars on that the surface there. So you got Washington football team, you got Dallas Cowboys. All right, kick it on over to the American Football Conference, AFC North, my friend.
I think I'm going to go Ravens on this one. I like the Browns. I like both of them to make the playoffs. I like the Bengals to be better. I like Joe Burrow to bounce back, but still not quite enough of a full team for the Bengals there. And I think the Steelers regress a little bit, kind of how we saw at the end of last season. Obviously, they started, 11-0, and then kind of fell apart there at the end. Mm-hmm. Not to say that they're going to be bad by any means, but I don't think they're going to be a playoff team quite necessarily. I think Big Ben's going to be a little bit too rusty and a little bit past his prime. But I like the Ravens to edge things out. I like them to kind of get back to where they were a little bit closer to 2 years ago. Obviously, they were still a playoff team last year, but I think they'll get back to where they were a couple years ago, or at least close to that. And what about you? Are you taking Browns? Are you taking somewhere else?
Yeah, I'm going Brownies, 100%. I just like Kevin Stefanski too damn much, and I think after 1 year, what we saw from him, and now we're like, you can't write him off after how good at taking control of a team and turning that whole franchise around pretty doggone much out of nowhere. So I got to back the Brownies again.
Yeah, I think they got at least 2 playoff teams in that division. I think it's going to be another one that's going to go right down to the end of it, at least between those two. If not, I could be totally wrong on the Steelers, and they could be right up there again.
Sure. All right, AFC South.
I know where you're leaning. We've had this discussion before. I'm going Colts on this one.
Okay. Yeah, I got to stick to my guns with the Titans.
Yeah, we've had this conversation before.
Yeah, they just beefed up that team, man, and Julio is looking good in those practice blues, my friend. I mean, I'm not saying he's the only thing going to win that, but that is a key piece that they were missing on the opposite side of A.J. Brown. So we'll see. But I also do like the Colts. The Colts have a star-studded defense. They added the pieces they needed. I'm pretty high on Carson Wentz. I think things just got a little too fractured there between him and old Dougie in Philadelphia. And I think now he's back.
That's a very good offensive line.
Yeah, very good offensive line. And he's back with his man, Frank Reich. So I think it's a match made in heaven. I do, too, think that the Colts, hell, we might even have two guys out of that division. Who knows?
That's what I was going to say.
See. Two playoff teams coming out of that division. We'll see. Maybe it's the AFC North, AFC South show this season.
Because not to mention, I think both of them get 2 wins each on the Jags and Texans.
Sure. Absolutely. All right. Back to the West Coast, AFC West.
I mean, Chiefs to win the division. I don't know if we have to dive too deep into that.
Chiefs to win the division,
I do think the Chargers are going to be really good, though, man. They've had a solid roster the last 2-3 years. They're just this close. Obviously, Anthony Lynn was just a flat-out bad coach, and game time or in-game decision making that cost them a handful of games. But I think Justin Herbert kind of proved that he is kind of made for this league, and I think he's going to only improve. And they still got a solid roster, solid defense. So I'm kind of going to contradict myself here. I think there's going to be an 8-way race here for 7 playoff spots. So one team has to be out, but I think they're going to be vying for a playoff spot at the end of the day.
I think so, too. I think Brandon Staley has a lot to prove, but maybe not necessarily that much to prove with how goodness gracious awful Anthony Lynn was, and with 5 minutes or less in the fourth quarter for the last decade. I mean, it's not been good for the Chargers organization for quite some time.
Yeah, just Anthony
and they got the pieces. They got the pieces to do it now, and they got their man in Justin Herbert. I mean, he made it very, very apparent. He was consistent as all hell last season. Sophomore season, I don't think there's going to be any slump. I think it's going to be nothing but improvement. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a tight race between the Chiefs and the Chargers. If the Chiefs slip up here or there,
tighter than you'd expect.
Honestly, we don't know. We don't know if the Chiefs are gonna come out and be yet again that dominant.
Right.
We don't know. it's hard for teams to continue that string of dominance and dominance and dominance and dominance. Now,
to that level,
seemingly, the Kansas City Chiefs have sold the fucking farm and have everything good to go as far as cap space, and they can just seemingly add pieces at will as they need. But
I think they're going to be.
I think they'll still be good, but just a little devil's advocate on the table.
For sure.
Last but not least, AFC East.
Got to stick with the Bills, but I think I've mentioned it before. I don't know where I've mentioned it before, but I think the Pats bounce back.
I think Belichick's back.
I think I made a declaration. That's why I said I'm kind of contradicting myself, because this is now, I've said 2 teams in each division, so that's 8, too many teams. But I've said before, I think the Pats bounce back and make the playoffs. So that obviously leaves someone out of the teams that I mentioned, but that defense had so many guys opt out last year. I think a lot of those guys come back and at least make them competent to good defense. And I've mentioned it before, Cam Newton was looking good. Patriots fans, small Patriots fans, the biggest media Patriots fans, they were drinking the Cam Newton Kool-Aid through the first 3 weeks of the season.
They
had
were.
him 2-1. This close to 3-0, a game of the year against Seattle, down to the wire, and then he hit COVID protocols, was out for 1 or 2 weeks, I don't remember, and then he just wasn't the same afterwards. But as we've mentioned and as we've seen, that can have an effect on guys, and then you give them about a year off, and they come back just fine. So I like Cam Newton to bounce back this year and lead that team to a playoff spot.
Yeah, Patriots are my pick for sure to win the NFC East or AFC East.
Are you taking them over the Bills?
I'm taking them over the Bills.
Okay.
I love the Bills. I love Sean McDermott. I love Josh Allen. I love Stephon Diggs. I love the way they've retooled that offense. I can't remember if they got them a running back or not. Not to say Devin Singletary isn't good or Zach. It's not Zach Bush. Either way, he's not good either. But that's one of their spots that they really lack in. They don't have that smash mouth running back that they can depend on. It's a lot of high flying, throwing the ball, and then hopefully we can scratch out 5 yards here on this run. And Belichick has never had a season that bad in his life, I don't believe. He's probably still chapped from it. He made it very apparent what his plans are this season during the NFL draft and the week following, after literally buying everybody on the free agent market for hundreds on the dollar. He did not care what he paid. He was getting them. Like you said, defense is back in action. So many guys opted out last year, and I think that's going to loom super heavy for this NFC East, and I think a lot of them are going to be thinking, Patriots team coming back, old Billy's dead, and then all of a sudden the Patriots are going to come out and start laying down 72-6 beatdowns.
Right, and not to mention, he's not a guy that buys into too many narratives, but the one that he would buy into is that, kind of oppose, is that last year people have been talking about how Tom Brady won that breakup. He was the guy that was stirring that pot. He was the one that was taking him. Not so much Bill Belichick, as we used to think it was more 50-50, and I disagree with that. I think he was as big of a reason. They just, as we mentioned, it was just not their year last year. The recipe was not right, and I think they get back there, and he's got something to prove again somehow.
I do believe you are correct. So those are our way too early.
Never too early.
Division winner predictions. Never too early when it comes to the NFL. 72 days away. That wraps it all up for the Gridiron. Quick stop by the MLB, the Diamond. Last night, your Rockies pick today, our Rockies pick yesterday. You might have saw they won in convincing fashion 8-0, but you might not have saw that there was a no-no in present at the start of the 9th inning. That no-no by Mr. German Marquez was busted on the first run, or the first batter of the 9th inning. Hit a single. The very next batter grounded into a double play, and the very next batter on the first pitch grounded into an out, and he lost it on one hit. Went 9 innings, 5 Ks, 1 walk, so his defense really helped him out all night long. It was a beautiful outing, but no in the books for German Marquez, but he does get the complete game shutout. So,
yeah, dominant game from him. We were high on him, and he did not disappoint.
No,
so
he has been pitching great.
We keep getting close. I'm not, burying your prediction on double-digit no-hitters this season quite yet. We are getting close. I think we're going to start seeing another 1 or 2 here in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. I like that prediction. We'll see what happens. We're still riding it out at 6, right?
it might be 7 now after your Cubs combined one. I could be wrong on
Oh,
that.
that's right. That was a no. Yeah, so 7.
Is that
it would be
right?
7.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So there's 7. We're getting three more. We get the double digits. I predicted that in the first week of the damn season, for crying out loud. So there you go. There you have that. We briefly talked about it yesterday, but everything has officially come out now for Santiago.
Yeah.
He's officially suspended. He's officially out. It was officially a foreign substance. It was rosin, which is now, per the new rules of the MLB, illegal on the foreign substance policy. However, makes no sense to me because there is a bag of rosin behind the mound on every single diamond in every single MLB game. So just because you put it on yourself and it's not in a bag and it mixes with your sweat and runs down onto your glove and becomes a tacky-like substance, that is now suspensionable. That makes no damn sense to me at all. I'm sure you could say a little otherwise, like, it's against my socks. Fuck that guy.
No, I don't give a shit about that.
But I think it's a little weird.
The goofiest thing is that I was listening. I think it was Buster Olney said like, "Oh, they didn't actually test the glove, like actually like test the glove," and so they're kind of just going off of. He said they were going off of what the umpire's report was on the field. So it really
and Santiago said too. He was like, "Yeah, I used rosin. Yeah, it was rosin and sweat. So like maybe it could be that shit too. They didn't test it, and they're like, hey, let's sweep it under the rug, dumbass. Why did you do this? We told you not to do this."
But if you're going the whole 9 yards to put it in a sealed bag, which was a hefty bag, why not just throw it? I don't know how they would test it, but why not? If you're going that whole 9 yards, give it a test.
Exactly.
Know for sure. And if it's just rosin, then I guess it's against the rules, but there's at least some type of all right, that's not that big of a deal, right? Like, come on, let's move on here.
Don't want to really get into it all too deep. Some shit came out again with Bauer outage.
Yeah.
Not looking good. Trevor Bauer, back that whole stuff that happened at the beginning of the year with the nice young lady. That's all I'll really say on that. He might have some allegations coming his way, and we might not be seeing Trevor Bauer for quite some time. This one seems pretty damn serious. From what I've read, you always know, let it play out, let the judicial play it, let justice play out. If it is true everything, I hope justice is served to the full extent. If it's not, I hope everything is reversed and Bauer gets right back on the field. But just so you guys know, this one is looking a little hot. As fast as the Deshaun one kind of just like has disappeared.
Sort of, yeah.
Just disappeared now. I think we got a little bit of this one to investigate still yet. So that's all I'll say about that, just so you guys know about that. If you're like, where the hell has Trevor Bauer been? Shit. Hey, T's and P's to you, Trevor. I hope everything's good. Or the reverse, moving along. Josh Donaldson. Last night. Oh, look at you perk up. Last night, ripped a piss missile on Lucas Giolito. And as he is rounding first base, just flicks his nice mullet back and looks in Giolito's direction and says the kind phrase of, "Not sticky anymore, huh, buddy?" and keeps running around those bases. Well, it enraged Sox fans worldwide. It has put Lucas Giolito in a position to where he had to respond. Says it's a bum move. It's ridiculous. It's Bush League, bro. And if you have a problem with me, you come and say it to my face. So I want to hear it straight from the mouth of a Sox fan himself. Speaking for Sox fans in the Chicagoland area, how are we feeling about this? What's going on out there? Are we taking knives and pitchforks straight to Josh Donaldson's front doorstep?
I mean, Lucas said it himself. The only thing you didn't mention, Lucas said, the W's next to my name, we got the win, and they're in last place. That's all it needs to be said. The Sox won. He only gave up 3 earned runs. Giolito did. Sox ended up
Maybe they're in first place because of sticky stuff.
The rest of their pitching staff is still clipping along, and Giolito was fine just after that home run. He was 5 or 6 innings, only 3 earned runs allowed. That was a 2-run bomb, so he was settled in right after that. So I got no issues. It's his fastball that's kind of missing location-wise a little bit. His off-speed stuff is totally fine. So, Josh Donaldson can pound sand. Twins are bottom of the pack, and we're still in first place.
Sounds like you guys are thinking about Josh Donaldson a lot.
You're the one that brought it up. You brought it up and asked me. Hey, I can give two shits about Josh Donaldson.
Well, there you go. There you have it. The Sox fans do not care about Josh Donaldson or his antics, even though Giolito was forced to make a statement on it yesterday. So pound sand, Josh Donaldson, for the Chicago White Sox fan base. Wrapping things up here, that does it for the diamond. Let's make a couple quick pit stops by the hardwood and the ice. NBA playoff action rages on. Last night, told you guys I was going to be hammering in the Hawks. There was no question about it. There was no ifs, ands, or buts. Everybody and their dogs were taking the Suns. Taking the Bucks. I'm sorry. So back on my analysis for today. So I had to do it. Series even now, 2-2. Going back to Milwaukee. We'll see status of Giannis up in air. Who knows actually what's going on there. He seemed to be walking okay, so I don't think it's an ACL. I don't think it's bad enough, but then again, stuff could have already been coming out by the time we've been on this pod, so we'll be sure to keep you updated there. I'm not too sure. I know you got some stuff you probably want to talk about as far as the Bucks Hawks, but
I honestly don't know. I mean, I was looking right before to see if there was any updated odds on the series itself, and they have not posted these odds, so it's clear that they're waiting on the status of Giannis. It does seem like I think Trae Young will be back for Game 5. He seemed, pretty energetic on the bench. Wasn't really limping or anything, keeping himself seated. He was kind of moving all over the place, jumping up and down. So I'd venture to guess and say that he's back for Game 5. So, I mean, if there's no Giannis in Game 5 and beyond, any game that Giannis is not in, it's
going to create some serious technical difficulties for that Bucks team.
No kidding, man. I don't know what to expect if that's the case. This playoffs is anybody's ball game right now, and
we'll see. And I'm still hanging tight onto that Atlanta Hawks championship ticket. It ain't going nowhere, ladies and gentlemen. They've given me a few opportunities to cash out, and I ain't doing it.
I don't even know, man. I'm not nervous because I don't have any tickets. This is just shocking. I've never seen anything like this in the NBA where the stars are just falling off.
I feel like my confidence in the Atlanta Hawks has never been higher, if I'm going to be honest with you, just with how everything is shaking out like
goofy
this
right now.
Then you heard our stuff, Clippers, Suns. We won't dive too crazy back into that. Do believe there is going to be a Game 7. The Suns are not taking this one tonight. I think we see another struggling night from a lot of their key members who should be due for a rebound, but I don't think it's going to be coming until they get back in front of their home fans.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I've said the last couple of days I'm still taking the Suns in 7. And, we already made the pick, so we are all over the Clippers tonight.
All over the Clips. And last but not least, Stanley Cup, Ice, Hockey, NHL, Playoffs. Habs, Lightning, Game 2 tonight. You know where I stand. I'm back in my Habs. I just think this plus 180 to plus 200 spot for the Habs is very, very profitable. They've been extremely dangerous in this spot. Everybody and their dogs is on the Lightning. This is Vegas. This is the playoffs. And I think the Habs squeak away with one here tonight.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm on the fence on this one, but as far as entertainment is concerned, I would love to see the Habs on top of it tonight.
I think it'll be a low-scoring affair, too. Defense is back in action. Goalie's back in action. So I don't think we're going to see anywhere near a football score or anything near what we saw on Monday. I think this might end a little 3-1, be 2-1 to the very end, and then we pull a goalie, and we end 3-1 here tonight. So there's my early prediction. Habs 3-1 victory this evening.
Why don't you get wild and take the alternate line, -1.5?
I probably will.
Okay.
Why the hell not? We'll see what happens. Be sure to follow us on the Action app. I might just lock that bad boy in. Outside of that, that's about it going on in the ice. Finals Game 7, nothing crazy, no big storylines, anything coming out as of yet. We just trudge right along into Game 2. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, the Talking the Line page on Twitter, and myself and Mags will be sure to cover all of this action tonight with all types of content and our takes from everything going on, so make sure you follow us there. If you don't want to search for all of that stuff, just head over to this episode's description and hit our link tree. We put all of our socials and all of our additional content in there for you so you can easily access it. You ain't got to scroll all over the damn interweb trying to find stuff from the TTL crew. Last but certainly not least, partner, I have gotten everything about off my chest I think I need to do here today. anything for you burning on the brain, melting on the heart, festering on the soul. You have been dying to get out to these kind folks that stopped by episode number 70 of the TTL pod today.
Interesting little tidbit here.
All right.
I had nothing yesterday. Still didn't really have too much, but since I had nothing yesterday, I got to bring something to the table here. On this day I lost the date already, 1930-something, Detroit radio exec George Richards pays $7,952 to buy the Portsmouth Spartans, moves and rebrands them to Detroit as the Detroit Lions.
Well,
about $8,000, all it costs for an NFL team about 90 years ago.
shit, we could have had an NFL team.
If we figure out time travel, I think my first order of business is traveling back to the 20s and 30s and buying myself an NFL team. I don't know about you.
I would have to agree. First, I got to make a pit stop by the bank before I jump into the time traveling machine. But once we do that, we got ourselves a NFL team. We'll just fast forward into the future, and hopefully that NFL team turned into the Chiefs or the Buccaneers, and then we're all good.
You can kind of dictate that if you really try hard enough.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I think you can get the job done. Yeah. But in this case, you might want to stay away from the Portsmouth.
Yeah, maybe not the Lions.
Might want to stay away from the Portsmouth Spartans because they turn into the Detroit Lions, and it's going to be quite the struggle in the Motor City for a while.
You improved your money, though.
Yeah, improved your money for sure. I mean, you definitely are living in a beautiful 500,000 square foot mansion for sure, no question.
Ooh, so there you go. Would you rather be an owner of a team that's perennially terrible like the Lions, or be a fan of a team who is perennially one of the best in the league?
So would I rather be a GM or a fan?
An owner or a fan, but
I would rather be an owner.
I know, that's probably an easy one. But your team sucks. It's terrible. And your fans
then I'm a shit ass owner. I gotta turn around my game and get some damn guys in the building.
Your team just sucks.
Oh, so you can never bring any new guys in. You can never go to free agency.
You can do all those things. You can try all you want.
So you're telling me there's no
mediocrity
way you could ever win a playoff game, could ever do anything like that.
I'm talking about this scenario. You're cursed to mediocrity at best, like the Lions, who haven't won a playoff
mediocrity
game.
At best, and I get a private jet alongside
and your fans
with.
Hate you. Sell the team. They chant.
I will take a side of mediocrity with my private jet. Yes, sir. No problem at all.
I think that's my answer too.
No problem at all. No problem at all, my friend. Well, thank you. Thank you for your sidebar there, my friend. If we could all travel back in time to right around 1930, we could buy an NFL team for right about $8,000. But hold the phone. Breaking news right now on the TTL pod per Mr. Magnuson. What's going on?
Not necessarily breaking news. We forgot to mention it in hockey. Our captain, Jonathan Toews, appears to be, he made an explanation, appears to be that he is going to be back in action next year.
Yeah.
Over the moon with excitement for that guy, man.
Absolutely, Captain. Oh, Captain. I should have worn my jersey today. Actually, that video broke as we were just about to start the pod, so might have to break out the old Captain jersey tomorrow. But so grateful to hear he's okay. Had some type of an immunity disorder, but it is all good now. He is back in action. That is kind of what I thought. My first early prediction, as a lot of people had, was kind of something along the lines of ALS, and that got kind of really scary for a while because then a lot of rumors started coming out that might be true. A little bit less major than that, thank goodness, and he will be back for the 2022-2023 season. So 21-22. Yeah, I was going too far ahead. But yes, he will be back. Cannot wait to see the captain back in the Hawks uniform and back on the ice in the center. So we will definitely be geared up. Hopefully, we can get to some Hawks games here coming up next year. So. There you go. There you have it. Today's rants and reactions, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between, not to mention RMags sidebar. Thank you, sir. Outside of that, anything I skipped, missed, didn't discuss, didn't talk about before we dive deep into some motivation minutes here?
No, go right ahead.
All right. Actually, one quick additional announcement here before we wrap everything up. We have a new partnership we are excited to announce here very soon. Not going to tell you guys all too much about it yet. We're getting a few things set up in the background, but we have joined yet another sports gambling community. This community is absolutely awesome. Some of the biggest names in the sports gambling industry are a part of this community. Cannot wait to start bringing some of the stuff that they give to us to be able to share with you and make our content bigger and better for each and every one of you. We have some big stuff coming right around the corner. It would be so much faster, and we wish it could be faster if it wasn't just me and Mags, but everything at its right pace and just as you guys are supposed to receive it. So continue to stick with us. We got some big announcements and some fun stuff to talk about here coming up very soon. So make sure you stay locked into the pod and into the TTL socials for any updates, any new content, partnerships, anything in between. With all that being said, let's wrap this show up, episode number 70, with a little motivation minutes. Once again, I've just been short and sweet this week. Haven't been bogging you guys down with anything too crazy. Definitely earth-shattering stuff and stuff you need to apply to your life that will change a lot of areas in your life. But short and sweet, letting you guys kind of go down the rabbit hole yourself, if you will. Generate your own thoughts off of this, your own perspective, and just apply the mindset to your life or whatever the message of the day might be to your life. So for today, I wanted to share a message, a very simple message, something that we all face. And I mentioned it at the top of the show, but today's message for my motivation minutes is on embracing the hate. And whatever form of hate you may be facing, maybe that's your average, typical somebody throwing shade your direction, talking shit about you, or saying you're less than, or you'll never amount to anything, or you're in this job because of XYZ reason you can never get to the next level, whatever the case might be. Your standard hate, or maybe it's people you don't even know who have no idea about you at all, but in some fashion or another are sending negativity your way, or maybe a community you're part of, or maybe you're part of an organization that opposes this organization and you're getting that negativity. Whatever the hate might be, you get what I'm saying. There's hate all over this world and in so many different forms, but you know me. I'm trying to spread a little love, and I think that's what we need to start doing and what you need to start doing. Stop with the hate, embrace the hate from wherever it comes, and counter it with love. Because what I've found is that when you focus on, and I've said this before, when you focus on the haters or a negative situation or whatever that hate is coming your direction, if you focus all on that and worry about all on that in your life, one thing I can tell you is that other person is putting their head on their pillow at night and sleeping just sound. They are just fine. But you are spinning in your thoughts worrying about that person hating you. So in turn, all of that worry and not allowing the hate to just embrace it and bounce it off of you, and rather letting it become you, is like drinking poison and hoping that other person dies. Because all you're doing is adding to your anxiety, adding to your stress, adding to your question marks by adding validation to people who think you are less than. Are you less than? I don't think so. I think you're kind. I think you're smart. I think you're important. I think you were blessed with amazing abilities to do amazing things in this life. I think you need to say F them to each and every one of your haters. I think that you need to embrace that hate. Let it come to you. When it comes your way, say, all right, people are noticing me. If you have haters, if you don't have haters, you're doing something wrong. If you are being successful in this life, if you are accomplishing things, if you are reaching goals, there will always be somebody to tell you that you're not. I can promise you that. And I told you just a moment ago that those people are sleeping sound at night and just fine in their life. But maybe they're not. Maybe their life is so damn miserable that the only way that they can find any type of enjoyment or fulfillment is to share that hate and that negativity with other people and force it on other people. Maybe. So maybe you can be the light in their darkness. Maybe you can embrace all this hate and turn their mindset around. Maybe you can be the beacon of hope in the raging storm of negativity and toxicity that we all live in every single day. Maybe you can be that light. So I'll let you think about that. I'll let you spin on that. I'll let you do with what you will and what you please. But today I just want you to remember to embrace the hate. Whatever is coming your way, know that it is not true. It is coming your way because other people have to take the time to assure themselves that just because their life is not good, that they got to make your life not good. Don't worry about it. Stop drinking the poison and hoping everybody else dies when you're the one putting the stuff in your body. Alleviate the anxiety, alleviate the worry, alleviate the fear of all that hate brings. That hate just adds to your anxiety and makes you think that you're even less than. Because we all struggle with that. We all have I do from time to time. You think you're less than. You think you don't measure up. We're humans. That's what it is. Don't allow other people to validate that for you. Let those be passing thoughts through the brain and just be thoughts. That's all they are. And they're in and out. And the real version of you is what is on the surface. You are successful, you are kind, you are smart, you are important, and you have been blessed beyond measure. So use those blessings today. Stop wasting them by worrying about the hate. Stop drinking the poison, and maybe, just maybe, you can be a light in the darkness to those haters. So that does it today for my Motivation Minutes.
Good stuff, my man. You know, there's people that just will hate on you for no reason, whether they're in your life or random people. The biggest thing you got to know is that, internally, you are who you are, and if you are happy with who you are, it doesn't matter what that person says. I got a quick story that I thought of before we wrap up. I used to work college summer job. I used to work at a go-kart, mini-putt, arcade, laser tag, solid summer job while I was in college.
Grady's Fun Park?
Volcano Falls. Shout out.
Oh, okay.
Shout out.
Grady's was my joint at the Old Stew.
In my hometown college summer job.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. But anyways, every single person that was on the staff was a high school student or in college. But there was one day where I had this guy had his little kid on the go-karts, and then he started to walk away, but still about me to the camera. He leans down to his son and goes, "You see that guy in the green shirt? That's why you go to college." And I looked at him and I said, I didn't say anything. I just looked at him and gave him the dirtiest, funniest look. And I was like, did you really just say that in front of me, dude? Like, first of all, to say that in front of me is just the biggest piece of shit move in the world. Second of all, even if you were out of earshot, if you asked anyone, every single person was either in high school or in college.
Mm-hmm.
And so it didn't really bother me because it was just like, did that person really just say that in front of me? Like, come on, dude. How old are you? First of all, I don't like to stereotype myself, but the dude had about 3 teeth in his mouth. Didn't look like he'd ever read a book in his life, let alone gone to college. And now he's saying that type of stuff to his little 5-year-old son. It's like, come on, dude. Screw off.
So I think you've been drinking the poison a little too long on old homeboy. You might just got all those feelings out, my friend. You might have just finally got all those feelings out from the last couple of years. And I'm glad we could have done that on the TTL pod for you.
Like I said, it's not so much that it bothered me because obviously I was in college at the time. It was just so much that it bothered me. Like, there's actually people who would, clearly within earshot, not like he whispered it. It was, he meant for me to hear. And I was just like, there's actually people in this world that will do that. And from that point on, don't let it get to me.
Hey, well, there you go. You know my motto. Give them the blades. Yeah. Who cares? What difference does it make? We're just going to keep driving on, and we're going to keep achieving, succeeding, and believing even when nobody else does. So that, ladies and gentlemen, officially does it for my Motivation Minutes of the day. Boy, oh boy, we have been here for a hot minute. Our first almost official 2-hour episode. Sheesh. 2 freaking hours we've been talking to you guys. Sheesh. I don't even know how that got away from us like that. But there you go. There you have it. We have shit to do. We got other meetings and other plans and some other things we got to get into today. So that is the show. It has been an absolute blast here with you guys. I honestly, time slipped away from me. I cannot believe we have already been here.
NFL discussion.
Have already been, hey, NFL, into the UFC, I mean, everything. So, hey, this might become a regular thing. Strap in. You never know what you're going to get here. It might be an hour show. It might be a 2-hour show. You might be here until the next day. We can't tell you because we make things up as we go along, too, except our bets and analysis. That we do the cold hard research on. Everything else, we just figure it out in between. So, as always, for myself and Mags, ladies and gentlemen, degenerates, gamblers far and wide that joined us on episode number 70 of the TTL pod on this beautiful June 30th, 2021. For myself and Mags, once again, we hope you have a spectacular rest of your Wednesday, unless you have other plans. Let's cash some tickets.